Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. Okay, live for our stream here. The tips on having a successful move to any city, U.S. edition. I believe I put U.S. edition on my YouTube, and StreamYard didn't allow me to give me enough characters so I can include it here in this title down below, right here. But I felt that it was extremely important to put this out here because, I know many people, they want to go out, they want to explore, they want to go from city to city to city to city, or just basically just trying to find their own way through. And they just need some, assistance or even just minor guidance or just general guidance on how to, pursue those dreams or whatever that they're trying to do. And so back in 2019, I went from city to city to city to city. I went to Atlanta. That was my first city. And then when things didn't work out there, which I'll get to in a different video, but when that did not work, I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go home. I rekindled with a friend, so on. Fast forward, we went to the West Coast. Boom. Went there for almost a year. So that was a little bit more successful. And I'll tell you guys why that was successful and how you shouldn't make the same mistakes that I've made. When I went from city to city to city to city to city in 2019. Um, and then shortly after, when things did not work out there between me and my roommate, I wound up going back east to the Midwest. And then when the whole COVID shutdowns had took place and things of that sort, it was like, oh my God, like it was bonkers. A lot of us didn't know how we was going to get things done. Actually, many people had even lost their jobs. Many people had even lost their jobs because of this pandemic and so on and so forth. And so it was like, okay, so because of the uncertainties and because of the new city, and I didn't know anyone in that new city, I decided to move back here to Washington, which is where I'm originally from. So let's dive into this video slash live watch stream. Let's hit it. All right. So number one, always make sure you have a job lined up. Okay. Always make sure you have a job lined up, because if you don't do this, if you do not do this, you're gonna set yourself up for failure each and every flipping time. You also have to understand the job market. So it's like, you know, the job market in which you're going into or the city that you're about to enter, things of that nature. You need to be doing your general research anyway before you just decide to pack your U-Haul and all of that, or in many cases get flight tickets or whatever case, or even transferring your job from one city to the next. You better be doing your research, and you better been doing it very, very, very well, sweetheart. I'm just saying. Mm. And number two, it always helps to have a family that's already in that city that can guide you through, or if you know some good friends. I'm not talking about your hit friends, your hit friends. I'm not talking about those type of friends. I'm talking about your genuine friends that y'all went through thick and thin with. I went through boiling hot water and hell with, and y'all still friends. Even many cases y'all fought or whatever, but y'all still friends. All of that. I'm talking about your ride or dies. I'm talking about your genuine friendships, not those superficial ones or them situationships, as many of us like to call them. Okay, it always helps to have them be like a guidance. Okay. Number three, if you do not have a family member in the city that you are about to enter into, okay, if you don't have a family member or if you don't know a friend or whatever the case, then what you need to be doing is you need to be networking with other individuals, okay? There's certain apps, there is certain networks, whatever, courtesy of Google, courtesy of different LGBT organizations, because I am in the LGBT community. So for folks who are in the GLBT or LGBT, whichever you want to call that, um, they got apps that support that. You got different organizations that support that. That can help you lead you in the right direction. So I would strictly and strongly recommend that you network is extremely important. Okay. Four, oh boy, the credit. The credit is extremely important, really, with anything, with the phones, with the homes, roof over your head, all that. Okay. Credit, 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 credit. The world lives on credit, 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 credit. Um, that has to be in order. Now, in other markets that I've been to, let's say like on the coastal cities, it's extremely competitive. Either on the West Coast or on the East Coast, it's extremely competitive. So you best believe your credit needs to be at least 680, 700, 720 to even be given a fighting chance to even live, okay, in one of these cities. Because if your score isn't like that, then there's a very good chance that you're going to have to pay a lot more, a bigger security deposit, honey. You have to shell out those extra coins, girl, to enter into your own place so you can receive your keys. Okay, when all of that signing your name in blood, well, not really signing your name in blood, but basically like a contract. 'Cause that's really what it is. It's a rental or slash business contract, okay, which you signing. The very minute you enter into that leasing office and things of that sort, and they pull your credit and so on, and you even went and signed them papers or whatever, for them to be able to go and do that and so on, so they can move on to the next thing, whatever, right? So your background, that needs to be solid. You cannot be having no property damage or anything of that sort. You cannot be having prostitution charges, that they'll be able to see in your record. Generally speaking, I've heard many rental companies go back as far as 10 years for these charges. So just be very careful, not just for those charges, but charges in general. It could be for assault, it could be for petty theft or grand theft, it could be for a variety of things. So please, what I recommend, because I've been in situations where my credit wasn't necessarily best. So I had to call the property, not just the rental property, but I also had to contact their company that they do the screenings for. And so many of them will actually be more willing to give you that information, and then you contact them and so on. Because sometimes these rental places, they don't know all that information. These rental property managers, child, they don't know all of that stuff right out the gate. And so it's very important that, okay, you give your rental property manager a baseline of what's going on with your life, but at the same time, to really put it into full perspective for you and to have this picture. All right, it's best to go above their heads. Okay, it's best to go above their heads so that you'll know whether or not if it's even worth submitting an application, baby. Oh, you better be on point, especially in these coastal cities. I'm serious. The rental market is extremely, extremely competitive in these coastal cities. Now, for anyone who, let's say, who had past credit issues or who's trying to get their lives back on track for whatever the reason, whatever, had a bad breakup, whatever, filed for bankruptcy, okay, all right, whatever, right? I would highly recommend those people, or even the folks who are just starting for the first time, who is 14, 15, 16, 17, who might have either been a runaway from their parents because it was just too toxic, or they just graduated high school and they just needed a place to stay and do what they got to do for themselves and so on. Okay, for these individuals right here, it's going to go into, you would have to slide into more of the Midwestern cities or where the cost of living isn't as high. Okay. Um, there's various cities. All you got to do is look up cost of living index, just Google it, Bing it, you go search it, whatever. Figure it out. Get through and understand that it's okay that you don't have all of your stuff together. It's totally fine. But just don't expect to make it in these big coastal cities or where cities where everybody is flocking to. Okay. You want to avoid that. You want to go to cities where people aren't really checking for like that. And it's going to be a little off for a little bit, but it's growing pains. We all have to go through it. We had to adjust to it before many of us went to the coastal cities and was able to be fortunate enough to live in coastal cities. We had to start small before we worked our way up. It's this is the same exact thing. You have to start small and work your way up. And you also have to stay within your means. Number five, staying within your means and also putting a budget together and staying strict with yourself, with the discipline and all of that stuff, the amazing toolbox in place to enforce this toolbox to make sure that you're not going over budget in any stretch of the imagination. It's extremely important that you follow this, because if you do not follow this, what's gonna happen is your behind is gonna be laid on something, or you gonna forget something, or whatever. And you're doing whatever you have to do over here to try to be successful. And I get it. Things happen. This, I believe, goes into number six. Have a planner, or have like a notification system like on your phone. Not too many people do paper and pen nowadays, or like a booklet of their schedule, and they write their things down. Now, for those old school souls out there like myself, right? Them old school souls out there, you can go ahead and just pencil that in, whatever that is, whether it's a bill payment, whether it's a doctor's appointment, whatever. You have to make sure that you're on top with that stuff. It's extremely important. Number seven, you have to make sure that you have the proper health coverages. It's extremely important. You have to do this because this thing, um, healthcare is extremely expensive, even in not even the bigger cities. You could go to a Midwest city, you can go to a smaller town, southern town, whatever. Healthcare is extremely expensive. You've got to make sure that you have a network of doctors for whatever needs that you may have, whether it's hormone replacement therapy, whether it's um, diabetes, whether it's HIV, AIDS, whatever conditions, whatever issues that you may have had that that is needed for a doctor visit, or dental, just basic dental, vision, a physician, whatever. You want to make sure you contact these people ahead of time before you start moving to that place and things of that sort. Already get on their books, because many doctors' books, or their scheduling books, I meant to say, many of these people's scheduling books are so far back. So let's say you're trying to move in October, October 1st, 2021, right? Let's say you're trying to move on that day. And all right, by hopefully by the end of that week, or wherever, depending on wherever city that you was trying to move into or hope to move into or what have you. All right, you're trying to get on a booking with a doctor visit or whatever. Good luck to you with that, because most doctors, their scheduling goes out 2 to 3 months, 4 months, even longer than that, especially during because of COVID-19. So it's extremely important that you properly plan. Okay, you have to plan the stuff. That way, you're not entering into a city and you done ran out of your hormones, or you done ran out of your sleep pills, or you done ran out of your HIV medications and things of that sort. No, 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 no. You want to keep it cute, boo boo. You want to make sure you have everything together. Okay. All right. So those are my tips on how to survive in any U.S. city, or any city. Okay. If there's anything that I had missed, please feel free to comment down below. And I would also do a follow up video if needed. Y'all have a terrific rest of your day.